Hi everyone, it's Rachel back with the Shades of Orange. Today I want to share with you the 10 books that I want to read before the end of 2020. And I'm phrasing it this way because I'm super excited for all of these books. So there is a possibility I'm going to start these books before the end of 2019. I want to read some of these books perhaps over Christmas, and I have a good variety here. There is horror, science fiction, fantasy, and a true crime book, which is pretty representative of what I normally read. All that being said, let's get started. First, let's talk horror, and I really want to read House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski. This, of course, is that iconic, classic, haunted house meta book that everyone talks about. It is formatted in a really unique way, and I've mentioned that I tried to read it before and I put it down, and then I ended up buying a copy, and now I think I'm finally ready to read it. I'm very intimidated by this because it is so beloved by so many people, and I'm worried I won't like it as much as everyone else. But I'm going to give this one an honest shot. I'm going to take my time with it and just really go slowly and really try to enjoy the experience. I know a lot of people consider this to be one of the scariest books they've ever read, so I would love to have that same experience. But this is happening probably very soon because I've been excited to read it ever since I purchased this copy. As well, I want to keep working through Stephen King's backlist, and I think the next book I want to read by him is The Dead Zone. This book I've heard really good things about from both Coral and Marianna. I'm going to put their YouTube channels down below if you want to check them out. But what I like about this one is it just sounds different, and I kind of like the fact that it's a little bit underhyped. I don't feel like everyone talks about it all the time. This is about a man named Johnny who has an accident and ends up with psychic abilities. I'm definitely hoping it's going to kind of scratch that thriller sci-fi itch that I'm looking for, and of course hopefully have some good elements of horror in it. But it just sounds really good. Again, I've heard really gushing reviews, and it's about time I checked it out for myself. Next, I want to read Frankenstein in Baghdad by Ahmed Saadawi, and this was actually a book that was on my list of books I wanted to read in 2019, and because it's on this list for 2020, you can probably guess that I did not get to it. I did try to pick it up, but it wasn't what I was looking for at the time. This is set in Afghanistan and follows a man that collects body parts to sew them together, and it's supposed to be a very literary take on Frankenstein. And I think at the time I was hoping it would be like a body horror book. Now I appreciate that it's more literary, but my tastes have been changing and I am more open to literary horror than I was a year ago. So I want to put it back on the list. I also really want to read more international or diverse horror. So this one is still on my radar and I want to give it another go. Now, I think a lot of people are going to be surprised that I haven't read this next book, but I really want to read The Last Days of Jack Sparks by Jason Arnopp. I got a chance to read his newer novel, Ghoster, and I did a review for that, and I really enjoyed it, so I've been meaning to check out his backlist forever. I heard the synopsis years ago, thought it sounded amazing, and then I never got around to reading it. Maybe because I think it could be a favorite. Sometimes I have this weird thing where I almost hold off reading books that I think are going to be so perfect because I almost want to save them, which is ridiculous. I have gushed about this book to other people and they have gone on to read it and love it. I know Stephanie from That's What She Read really enjoyed it, and it's about time I checked it out for myself. I know that it's about a really unlikable journalist, and the story involves possession and exorcisms, and that just sounds like all the things I enjoy, so I definitely want to read it this year, hopefully sooner than later. And I also want to read one true crime book this year, and that is American Predator by Maureen Callahan. This is a book I heard about from Julie at A Girl in a Book because she's been reading and loving a lot of true crime lately. I don't know much about the serial killer that is discussed in this one and hunted down, but it's been a while since I've read a lot of true crime and I really need to get back to the genre because I do enjoy it. This one is supposed to be addicting and not too dense, which is something I sometimes struggle with the genre. So if you have read it, I would love to hear your opinions on this one. Now let's switch gears and talk about some science fiction. One I am incredibly excited to read is Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky, and this is one that has gotten great reviews on Booktube. I understand it's about a future where humans are going to colonize other planets. Something goes wrong and they end up creating a race of super intelligent spiders. This book is definitely science fiction, but I am hoping for some creepy spider moments, and again, people just go gush about this book, and I've been craving more science fiction this year. So as I showed in my recent book haul, I did buy myself a copy because I am so confident that this one could be a new favorite, and I just really want to check it out. And sticking with the theme of science fiction books I am crazy excited about, I also really want to read the book of Strange New Things by Michel Faber. If you know, I gushed and loved Under the Skin by him and immediately wanted to check out more of his work. I know that this is a story of a man who works as a missionary and is sent off to another planet to spread the word of God, and he leaves his wife behind, and so this book is partially about him spreading the word on this new planet, but at the same time it's about the relationship between him and his wife. From the synopsis, it's quite different than Under the Skin, and I am aware of it, but I just love his writing, and I think that this is a story that I could really enjoy. I definitely could be a new favorite. I would love to see this on my favorites list for the end of 2020, and yeah, I'm just so excited. I can't believe I've held off reading it for this long, but I really want to save it for this TBR. Next, I want to read a book called Seveneves by Neal Stephenson, and this would be my first time reading anything by him. Maybe not the place a lot of people would recommend starting, but for whatever reason, this book has really grabbed my attention. And this is a sprawling, epic story where humanity needs to band together to survive. I believe it has a lot of good hard science fiction in it. And when I say epic, this book is almost 900 pages, and it's definitely going to take me a while to read, especially because I would like to try the audiobook because I really like the narrator, and I'm hoping this one is a winner. Sometimes long books work really well for me, sometimes they don't, but I'm very hopeful about this one, and again, I think it's one that could end up on my favorites list for the end of the year. Now, I also want to read Annihilation by Jeff VanderMeer. This, of course, is about a group of scientists that go off to a mysterious place called Area X to investigate. This book is science fiction with elements of horror and suspense. I have not watched the movie yet, but I really want to check it out. The reason I haven't read this book is because I can't tell if I'm gonna like it. I feel like it's either gonna be a new favorite or I might completely hate it, and I really can't tell. I haven't read a lot of weird fiction, but this one is very popular and I think it would be a great place to start. So weigh in whether or not you think I'm going to enjoy this one, because honestly, I have no idea, but I just need to try it for myself. Now, I have two fantasy books on this list. One of them is Nevernight by Kristoff. This book has been recommended to me so many times. So many people tell me I will absolutely love it, and I just haven't gotten into it. I did try it, but the writing style kind of put me off at first, but I've heard from so many people that you just kind of have to push through and you will fall in love with it. I've heard gushing things from Julie at A Girl in a Book, as well as Carol Marie and Bethany. I'll put, of course, links to their channels down below. However, I know that a lot of people really hate Dark Dawn, the finale to this trilogy, but I'm gonna still try the beginning, see if I like the first book, and sometimes I have unpopular opinions, so maybe I'll like the end of the trilogy. I'm hopeful at least, but I'll try the first book and see how that goes. Finally, the last book on this list is The Fifth Season by M.K. Jemisin, and this is a fantasy story with elements of science fiction, which is definitely something I enjoy seeing blended together. And this book is just so iconic. I talked about it in my list of unpopular books that I tried to read and didn't finish, but this book has still been on my radar. And when I said I tried it, I mean I tried the first couple pages and was really turned off by that second person narration. However, so many people gush about this book. I believe it's one of those books where the author is purposely holding back information and there is some sort of big twist or reveal at the end, and I'm just so intrigued. Again, this is a book that I don't know if it's for me, but I kind of just need to try it and see how it goes. So it may not be a new favorite, it really could be, but I'm gonna give it an honest try and push through and, you know, go with that second person narration and just see how it turns out. So again, I'd love to hear your opinions down below, how you think that one's gonna work for me. So that is it for this video. Those are the 10 books I wanna read by the end of 2020. I realized that I put a lot of long books on this list, so hopefully I chose well. I would love to hear your opinions down below. Do you think that these books are going to be new favorites? How am I going to get along with them? As well, let me know if any of these books you are planning on reading this year. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't yet, please subscribe. Otherwise, please give the video a big thumbs up and hit that notification bell. Thank you so much for watching. I will talk to you again soon. Okay, bye-bye.